I'm Kirsta Teague, and I hope your furnace is working.
It's kind of chilly out there. Hi, I'm Tite. Welcome to this week's edition of Studio Q. This week we have stories on, guess what, the referendum, women in engineering, and life in the Leonard Hall lineup.
But first, let's take a look at the biggest event last week, Alumni Weekend. The weekend kicked off with a two-day sidewalk sale held on Friday and Saturday. The weather may have been wet, but that didn't dampen the spirits of those looking to pick up that extra t-shirt. A disappointing crowd came out Friday for Oktoberfest night in Jock Hardy Arena. There were several empty tables, but those who attended had a good time. They were treated to a performance by Irene. She's a popular lounge-type singer from Toronto's Brunswick House. Even 1,000 students and alumni packed Richardson Stadium Saturday for the homecoming football game. The Golden Gales trounced the Ottawa Gee-Gees 35 vets. We'll have more highlights later in the show. And the weekend was capped off Saturday night with a concert in Jock Hardy Arena, headlined by Spirit of West. The concert was a fundraiser for AIDS awareness. Queen's Own Price Poets and Toronto's Moxie Frubus were the opening acts.
I would like them anywhere, but I do not like them, Sam, I am. I don't like eggs and ham. Or would you like them in a house?
It kept the sellout crowd sufficiently pumped until Spirit of the West hit the stage.
In this week's segment of I'm Just Curious, we take a look at something that all Queen's students, especially those of us in fourth year, should be curious about. Juliette and Knapton takes a look how alumni spend their time when they come back to Queen's.
Queen's celebrated 150 years of graduates this past weekend. Old and new alumni returned to see friends, reminisce, and retell stories. But I'm curious about what alumni actually do here. According to the National Alumni President,
well, we're here enjoying all the festivities and celebrating Queen's here.
It seems that they start off at Registration Hall, all decked out in tricolored balloons, banners, bouquets, and old-class photos. And everyone attends the official welcoming ceremony with Principal Smith. But after that, there is still a weekend left to fill. The university offered a variety of organized social events for alumni, including a high tea, city and campus tours, and a gambling night for charity. The sidewalk sale on Saturday drew people out and about University Avenue, despite cold, blustery weather. Face painters decorated passerbys, and the AMS gave away free hot dogs. In keeping with the traditional spirit, alumni poured into Richardson Stadium, dressed in cherished blue, gold, and red. This is their one opportunity a year to put on that old Queen sweater and immerse themselves into their alma mater environment.
And is this the highlight of your weekend?
What is?
Is this the football game, the highlight of the weekend?
No, probably the drinks last night. The party coming up tonight.
While the students may have been more vocal, the alumni side of the stand seated more fans, most of whom were very caught up in the game itself.
I come to all the ball games. Yes, I have been coming to all the ball games since 1954.
From the football game, most alumni went on to the Chancellor's dinner for a more sophisticated and elegant evening. This was a formal affair with the object to remember our Scottish heritage. Why did the alumni come from across the country and around the world for this brief interaction with Queen's?
Let me give you one comment.
Sure.
One nice thing that I like is that the Queen spirit's still alive. I don't care about the changes. That's the part that never changes.
And they brought their loved ones to share traditions, history, and oil flags.
And what do you come for? What do you hope to find here?
Fun. Relive the past. Reliving the past. It's wonderful. It's great.
And it never disappoints you?
Never. I've never been disappointed on a return trip here. The only problem is I have to go see my neurologist because I have a hell of a headache after by the time I get back.
Homecoming is an eventful weekend, full of fun for all alumni, young and old. While the football game is still the major draw, it is a people that you come to see. The Queen spirit lives on this year and every year. For Studio Q, I'm Juliette Knapton reporting.
Well, at least we know what some of the alumni were up to this past weekend. A group of alumni went to the basketball court and showed the youngins what they had learned in their day. But, however, as the Queen's students who played them found out, older does not necessarily mean over the hill. Karyn Barry reports.
Queen's is well known for its loyal and generous alumni who continue their relationship with the university long after graduation. Alumni Weekend is a time for Queen's to welcome its former students who have come back to Kingston for a couple of days of nostalgia and reminiscence. But for some Queen's grads, the weekend is far from sedate reflection. For returning basketball players, it's a chance to step onto the court once again and show the young guys just how it's done. Queen's is an extensive network called the Hoopsters, which both helps basketball alumni keep in touch with each other, as well as providing information on what is happening at Queen's. Men's team coach, Barry Smith, feels the four Gales want to maintain a relationship with the university.
We had so many players wanting to play in the game, we established few rules. We try not to make it too complicated. On Friday's night's game, the probably most player would be in the range of about 30. But for Saturday night's games, we've had players up into their 50s that come back and get out on the court for minutes. They keep in touch with each other throughout the year, but it's that one weekend that they set aside and come back and renew the friendships that they had when they were attending Queen's.
When most people think of Alumni Weekend, the images which come to mind are usually those of notorious street parties, which have received so much bad attention lately, and of course the big football game with all of its pomp and pageantry. There are other events, however, which although they don't covet as much attention, are nonetheless just as important to all those involved. The annual Alumni Basketball Games are such an event, bringing together former Golden Gales who have moved on but who still maintain a close relationship with the university. The games are meant to renew old friendships as well as providing the opportunity to relive their youth. It doesn't matter whether you graduated 5 or 25 years ago. For these alumni, returning to the court is what homecoming is all about. For Studio Q, I'm Karyn Berry, reporting.
Weekend, we thought we'd talk to a few Queens alumni about their university memories and what was like. Some are recent grads, and others haven't been to school in 50 years.
Well, I always remember the chemistry classes. I think the whole campus atmosphere, the whole experience of being at Queens, the buildings and the people and the faculty and everything, it was a great time in my life. 30 years ago, they used to take a 17-car train from Kingston to Toronto, and that was a ball. That was better than the football game. That has to be my Fox Week. It was great. I don't remember most of it, but people reminded me that it was fun. All the hard work and the many hours I put in over the books, I can't believe it. Just constant work, work, work. We're both in engineering, and we're used to that type of thing.
And then we're going to go to the port tavern and have a few drinks and make plans from there.
And we partied last night up at the hotel, which we're staying at the Ambassador. And had a good time, but partying and meeting and seeing old friends.
This is my mom here. I'm very proud third generation teen. The inspiration? My fondest memories of Queens. I have to think about this one for a second. I was hanging around at home in the ghetto. We were housemates here. You were housemates here, eh? Absolutely. Wow, permanent housemates. I don't think you have as much fun. I really don't, because to meet people, you have to go to a bar, you know, and the open houses, you met everybody densely, so that was much more fun.
Fondest memories of the university, I think, is the camaraderie that we had as a class unit.
And where are you from?
I'm from Newfoundland.
Oh, really? So how did you get here?
We drove up.
You drove from Newfoundland?
All the people I've met was always so pleasant. One highlight of my life, going to Queens. No question about it. I've seen guys that I haven't seen for 45 years, and my recollection of them is a young man of 24 years old now. They're old gaffers like me. I mean, I haven't grown older, but they have, right?
How are you voting on October 26th? I'm Stephanie Wilson, and coming up on Studio Q, what student groups on both sides of the referendum debate are doing to get your vote?
Traditionally, the football game has been central to the homecoming experience. But as those who went to the match against the Ottawa GGs... What the fuck? Can't say that television? What did you do? Yeah, those who went to the match against the Ottawa GGs found out that there are new rules. New rules for spectators. Kevin Bryenton reports.
Homecoming. Returning to a familiar place where 4 years of memories are happily recalled, and marking time by what has changed and what they've changed. And what would homecoming be without the alumni football game at Richardson Stadium? This year's game is a spectacle in more ways than one. The cool and balmy weather, the beautiful colors of the leaves and faces, combined with the awesome halftime show, left the spectators saying, what more could you ask for? Well, yeah, the scorecard is an integral part of any football game, but, oh well, who cares? And by the by, if you were looking for a shellacking, the Gales were the ones doing the whacking. Ooh, did we ever lay a beating on these guys? Both offensively and defensively, the big yellow guys were unstoppable with 6 interceptions leading to 2 touchdowns. The Brad Elberg Express was also running on schedule, delivering 2 TDs to grab the conference lead with 11. Speaking of touchdowns, the Ottawa GGs were pretty dry in this category. The frustration of the GGs is epitomized in this interception, which led to a touchdown with a mere 6 seconds remaining in the game. The final gun left the Gales with 35 points and the GGs with 0. But the gridiron matchup eventually ends and the question arises.
Hey guys, are we going to rush the field or what?
This question was never seriously posed, however, due to a misfortunate scheduling oversight. As it turned out, Richardson Stadium was the site of not only the alumni football game, but also of the Eastern Ontario Police Convention. Any attempt to stray from the flock of stands on the student side was met with harsh disapproval from the shepherds, disguised quaintly as QSGs and clean security. Consequently, there were very few wandering sheep. When asked why the level of security had risen so drastically, the typical answer from the herders was one of arcane deferral.
How come it's so uptight with the security this year?
You can talk to the security administrator about that.
Guys, well, as the people trying to sneak by.
Oh, no.
They can't answer that question. Queen students seem quite befuddled with the Orwellian atmosphere.
They have all those spaces that can buy us in. Look at all the space right there.
There's a lot of space.
There's a lot of...
And thus, the rigmarole of spirited sport humming was replaced with a subdued exodus from the stands, which was not without its angst.
Have they gone too far? Well, yes, I think they have. I mean, it's a bit of a moot point to have 200 trained professionals protect the field, which is perfectly capable of defending itself. I mean, look at these grass stains. Over the years, many traditions have died at Queens, and some, well, with good reason. But to deny the fantasy frolic of victory-happy students on their field, it somehow diminishes the ritual surrounding the football game. Sure, there's no anarchy. But at what cost? For Studio Q, I'm Kevin Bryenton reporting.
More than 150 dwellers showed up this weekend for the Queen's Invitational Fencing Tournament. It was held Saturday and Sunday in the Views Gym and attracted several universities from across the province. The event was sponsored by the Queen Varsity Fencing Team as well as the Fencing Club. Queens won medals in all 6 weapons. The men and women's teams both took first, second, and third place in the foil competition. The fencing team is to action against next week for the RMC Invitational. They'll be up against almost 120 teams from around the world. Queens is the defending champ. And the men's hockey team opened up their first home game of the season with a victory over McGill. For the Gales, it was their first victory over McGill in the last 19 tries. A strong offense kept the Gales ahead for most of the game, as Queens went on to beat the Redmen 5-4.
After years of negotiation and seemingly endless media coverage, the October 26th referendum on Canada's constitutional future is finally drawing near. Because the outcome of the vote will most certainly have important ramifications for the entire country, both politically and economically, leaders are urging all Canadians to exercise their democratic right by casting a ballot. Steph Wilson checks out the campaigning activity here at Queens.
With October 26th fast approaching, campus is overflowing with information on the referendum. The Queen's Yes Committee has been out in full force, kicking off their campaign a couple of weeks ago with a special ceremony supported by Mayor Helen Cooper. She was also one of the panelists last Friday at a constitutional forum organized by the AMS Women's Issues Committee discussing the new Accord's implications for women and other concerned groups. Sean Crosby, Federal Minister of Oceans and Fisheries, also paid a visit to Queens this Monday on behalf of the Yes Committee to enthusiastically support the agreement and address questions from his audience. Pam Goddard, Karen Lockhead, and Michael Hilliard, campus representatives of the Young PCs, Liberals, and NDPs respectively, have joined forces to further the Yes cause. Karyn commented on this tripartisan effort.
The 3 of us combine our efforts to set up a Yes Committee on campus addressing student needs and making sure that the students were informed to be able to vote on October 26th.
But in the midst of all these Yes efforts, where is the No campaign? Michael Coville, chair of the No Committee for Kingston and the Islands, explains the lack of a formal No group on Queen's campus.
I'm sure that there are quite a few people on the campus who would like to vote no and possibly would like to give other people reasons to, but I think basically they're just taking it as an individual decision process and not organizing because of finances and time commitments and things like that.
Herman Nielsen, the Student Reform Party representative, agrees.
It's difficult when, even on the national level, you know, TV write-ups are not sharing the same sort of discussion, nanning sort of thing, and I think that goes over and carries on to campus as well.
What we're asking for is Canadians to approve the principles under which this accord is formed.
Both yes and no sides did meet up on Wednesday at a forum on the deal. McManus, chair of the Kingston Yes Committee, said their goal was to inform people because they feel that armed with a clear understanding of the deal, Canadians will vote yes. But the forum was emotion-free, a polite exchange that doesn't reflect the tense emotions for voters around the country. One final campus event, organized by the Yes side in traditional Queen style, will be a unity smoker at dollar bills. Like the national Yes campaign, the campus Yes group has stepped up its efforts in the last few weeks and put forth a united front. The No campaign has not been as visible, perhaps because of the inherent differences between No supporters. However, the real success of each campaign will only be known in a few days after students have cast their vote. For Studio Q, I'm Stephanie Wilson reporting. Sexual discrimination has long been a problem for many women in many professions, and although equality in the workforce is becoming more of a reality, some professions are populated predominantly by men. Over the years, women in engineering have faced certain difficulties related to their gender. Recently, a conference was given about the obstacles females must overcome in the field of engineering. Manjula Savartha was there. Do you find the concept of women in engineering unique? Are you aware of some of the challenges that they face? Would you like to find out what they are? To find out, I went to all the regular engineering spots. Come on. I see one of the problems of women in engineering as not having enough female prof. Although I don't aspire to become a female prof or to go to grad school, I think it's really important that more women consider this as an option. Many of the challenges facing women in engineering today will be met out in industry. I think that we have to remember that while we're here at Queen's, we're amongst the most educated and most socially aware individuals in our society. The university has gone through great depths to try to encourage women into science and engineering, and they've done a fine job. However, when we get out in industry, I think we'll be confronted with a lot of backward ideas, and we'll have to deal with them. But it's important to remember that we have a lot to contribute to the engineering profession, and it will be a very rewarding career. I think it would be better if women were encouraged from the high schools, not only in universities, to go into engineering. Right now, I find that many of them are being encouraged to go into sciences such as medicine or into nursing. So how are these issues being raised? Recently, the Equal Issues Committee of the Engineering Society organized the second annual conference on women in engineering. Engineering professionals, faculty, and students were in attendance to discuss various issues, from employment equity to gender-neutral language. In the meantime, women engineers are helping, making changes in the engineering society by organizing different events and finishing their assignments in the early hours of the morning. The biggest problem being faced by women in engineering today is being accepted by their peers, both male and female, professionally and socially. This is Manjula reporting for Studio Q.
I don't know about you, but my first year of mealtime memories include slinking out of my door in Leonard Hall, down the stairway through a somewhat dingy basement, herded like cattle through a narrow doorway, only to be fed some delicacy of which the identity I was never quite sure of. Yes, folks, this is Leonard Hall, a rite of passage that almost all first-year students go through. Leekha checks out the line today.
Leonard Hall Cafeteria, perhaps one of the most social atmospheres on Queen's University campus. In an effort to discover why, Studio Q visited Leonard with the following question in mind. What's the secret to picking up people in the cafeteria?
Well, first of all, I would look and see if I knew anyone around him. And then I would, accidentally bump into him or drop something.
I'd have buses in here again tomorrow.
Go up and say hi. It always works. All the time. You're 100% pick up. Yeah, it's mostly salad top. If I was looking for something you never seen in your life, when you're crossing the cafeteria, how would you pick them up?
Well, I wouldn't, because there'd be a mirror in front of me.
Last year, play with the fork beside them. I had to go in a bowl. And so I walked by and I took off and I spilled it on them. And so, you sort of had to lick it off, and it worked really well.
section, or breakfast time, maybe the cereal section. So I pretend that I like the cereal. I'll go up, make a little sweet convo about, say, Fruit Loops or something. I don't know. I don't pick up people in cafeterias.
Drive. It's slow. So, Dapper. Just Dapper. And I'd say, you know, would you, like to turn off the camera, please?
So he had a pen and he had some paper. So he wrote a little sign that said, hi. Underneath said, I might. So he held it up, waved it on, he said, hi. Unfolded it, I might. And the best part of the story is that her reply, he took a piece of paper, he wrote hi, and underneath it she wrote, I'm not might. Shot down in a big way.
If you haven't figured out the secret yet, there's only one way to find out. Just eat there. For Studio 2, this is Leekha reporting.
That brings back a lot of good memories, doesn't it?
Well, if you wanted to relive those memories and throw those away. Yeah. I don't know, you could apply to be a Don.
What? Me?
I think you'd be a really good Don.
Oh, yeah, buckle the down, great.
Well, let's check out what the Dons are like today in residence.
All right.
As most everyone is aware, first-year students living on the Queen's campus share their residences with a number of upper years. Some are floor seniors or members of the main campus residence council, but others carry the elusive and somewhat ambiguous title of floor Don. While some students may still be confused as to the exact purpose of their presence, Dons play a very important role in improving residence life for first years. Andrew Hyatt, assistant to the director of residences, explained.
Dons are upper year students, fourth year students or graduate students, sometimes faculty or staff members, who live in the building, and their responsibilities are really twofold. They have a proactive role. They also have a reactive role, which involves counseling students. Some of it's academic counseling, personal counseling, and some of it would be dealing with emergencies.
In order to meet the criteria for Donship, Dons must have some type of background living in residence. They have to have been out of high school for at least 3 years, and they must possess some kind of counseling experience. In general, according to Hyatt, applicants are genuinely concerned with the welfare of students.
They're very committed, sometimes overcommitted. Dons are the sort of people who they're there because they like to help, and sometimes they have to cover things for a Don to do is to learn to say no.
Hyatt stresses that Dons are in residence to act as friends and counselors, not necessarily as disciplinarians. Pete Hogan, a Don in Leonard Hall, hopes to provide this type of brotherly atmosphere for the residents of his floor who may have had trouble adjusting to the realities of university life.
You know, you get along with the guys, and they ask you what problems that you have, and you're able to shed some personal perspective on it. And they'll come back and say, I thought it was said, and I did what, you suggested, and it turned out really well, and, thanks a lot for your help. And that means a lot.
Once selected, Dons must participate in an 8-day training session during the summer, which is designed to instruct them about educational programming, organization of events, residence operations, and personal counseling. Dons are compensated for their time with rooms or apartments in residence and a full meal plan. Given that, is there a possibility that Dons are in it just to gain these benefits? Michelle Corbet, a Don in Town Hall, who assisted in the Don training program, feels that is highly unlikely. In the last few years, Queens has exerted a great deal of time and energy to improve the Donship program. An increase in the active participation of Dons and the residents' awareness of them has been a positive step towards creating a more enjoyable experience for students. This is Melanie for Studio 2.
There was a protest outside the John Deutsch Center Friday morning. It was organized by the Coalition Against Ethnic Cleansing in Bosnia. They were protesting the continued oppression of ethnic minorities in the former Yugoslavia. The gathering was followed by a march to Kingston City Hall. And another protest Saturday morning, this one held for the National Day for Abortion Rights. About 50 people gathered outside the Frontenac County Courthouse at noon to make their voices heard on the issue. The protest was sponsored by a variety of pro-choice lobby groups, including the Kingston Pro-Choice Committee. It was also followed by a march to Kingston City Hall.
Every Wednesday, everywhere you go on campus, people are reading The Golden Word, a publication that serves the double function of being the voice of the engineers as well as the university's only humorous paper. But who are these people that keep us rolling in the aisles, and how do they deal with the pressure of being the only reliable source of campus humor. Brenda Marshall investigates.
Are there really people that go to this school with names like Rip Snort and Dewey? Every week, 8,000 copies of the Golden Words are published. Who are the people behind this paper? Where did they get their names? How do they manage to be so gosh darn funny every week? And why do they have such great affection for a large, short-legged, thick-skinned quadruped? In an effort to present an insightful alternative perspective on campus life, Studio Q visited GW Press Night. Not quite knowing how to approach this illustrious bunch of madcap loonies, we decided to start off with a simple question, like, what is your name?
Hey, your name? What do you mean? What is my name? I'm Belinda Carlisle, and we are the Bangles. I used to be editor.
Surprisingly enough, that GW editor on the resume didn't ensure me a role in society.
What?
Finally, we found someone who was willing to talk. Dave Rogers, one of the present editors.
That's the first year I went into mining. Went up north, worked in the summer in New Crushers line. So everyone there calls me Crusher.
Wait, isn't this the guy who... Is it true you have a crush on Liz Mugga?
Actually, we have secret engagement plans. It's really just a big front. Liz, take me to the arts formal. I'm your man.
Well, enough gossip. How do they get their story ideas every week?
Divine intervention. Humor is from the clouds and is magically infused with skill. I know, other than Hippo is really intrinsically a funny beast. If it was a dog or a cat or an emu or something like that, it's just not the same thing that if a hippo makes you laugh, doesn't make you laugh, I think it makes the whole world and everybody laugh.
And what do GW think of Studio Q?
I want to say that we here, we want to applaud the new direction Studio Q, the new wacky, Studio Q. And I'm not saying that because I'm involved with any of the Studio Q executives.
For Studio Q, I'm Brenda Marshall reporting.
Well, that's it for this week's show.
And we'd like to thank Ann Abbott for doing the sign in Elsie's stairwell. It's great, Greg. You should go check it out.
And while you're waiting to get into the pub, you can go.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see it.
And next week, Studio Q on Monday, we'll be filming on location somewhere on campus. We know, but we're not telling. So if you're walking by and you're thinking, hey, isn't that the cast and crew of Studio Q? It probably is. I don't know what we're filming. Maybe it's like tell us.
Hopefully inside.
That's right.
If it's another one of those nice snowy days.
Cold outside. Very cold.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyhow, I guess you can check us out every Thursday and Friday, 6 and 4:30 respectively. And I'm Ron Tite.
And I'm Kirsta Teague.
We'll see you later.
Okay.
Studio Q, Queen's weekly television show, is brought to you each week by Cablenet 13 and Queen's Alma Mater Society. Tune in next week, Thursday at 6 o'clock and Friday at 4:30 on Cablenet 13.
And the surrounding area.